The U.S. is considering blacklisting Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, the largest Chinese semiconductor manufacturer, and investigating its ties to the Chinese military. Since SMIC is the provider of microchips for Huawei, the situation is getting worse for Huawei. On September 4th, Reuters quoted an official from the U.S. Defense Department saying that the Trump administration is considering whether to add China's top chipmaker, SMIC, to a trade blacklist. A current U.S. official and two former U.S. officials revealed to Reuters that the U.S. is investigating the relationship between SMIC and the Chinese military. SMIC, Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, is the largest integrated circuit chip manufacturer in China, with a scale only smaller than the industry leader, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Although SMIC officially mass-produced 14-nanometer chips in late 2019, the vast majority of SMIC's semiconductor machinery equipment comes from U.S. companies Lam Research and Applied Materials. If SMIC is listed on the trade blacklist, U.S. suppliers must apply for a special license to ship orders to SMIC.
Actually, China's key component technologies are limited by the U.S. Their technology is quite immature. So if suppliers stop providing key components to SMIC, then SMIC will not be able to do lots of things based on their technology.
SMIC is also the chip provider for Huawei. As of now, the company has received orders of 14-nanometer FinFET chips from HiSilicon, a chip designing company owned by Huawei. After the U.S. banned Huawei completely, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company and Samsung have made it clear that they will no longer provide support to Huawei after mid-September. This resulted in SMIC receiving an increase of mobile chips orders from Huawei. Early this year, TSMC's 14-nanometer Kirin 710A order was transferred to SMIC.
We all know that SMIC is an OEM, original equipment manufacturer, which means it is not capable of possessing an independent chip development. So if the US bans SMIC, it is in fact equivalent to cutting off Huawei's supply chain completely. Huawei will be cut off not only from TSMC's best 7-nanometer technology, but also the second best 14-nanometer technology.
In addition, SMIC supplies primarily domestic enterprises. If SMIC gets banned, not only will Huawei's situation get worse, China's entire semiconductor industry may also be affected.
SMIC is currently the largest semiconductor manufacturer in China. It was built with the help of Taiwan in the beginning. The person in charge was also from Taiwan. So if the U.S. decided to sanction SMIC, then the technology industry will be destroyed in China.
On the night of September 5th, SMIC issued an urgent announcement claiming that the company has never had any business activity involving military applications that relate to the Chinese military.
With no evidence, we can't say that the company has ties with the military, but it must have ties with the party. For example, Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba Group, stepped down in the end because the party wanted him to step down. So I believe that basically the CCP has the absolute control over private companies in China, regardless of either having ties with the military or not.
Tang Jinyuan indicated after his analysis that two reasons make it difficult for SMIC to stay clear from being associated with the Chinese military. 1. Huawei is one of the most important clients for SMIC. Last year, Bloomberg revealed that Huawei employees collaborated with the Chinese military in at least 10 research projects over the past 10 years in areas such as artificial intelligence and radio communications. The second reason is that given SMIC's size, it is unlikely that the CCP will let go of control over such an important strategic asset.
The CCP is actually practicing a form of Songun politics where all resources must be shared among the military first, because we all know that political power comes from the barrel of a gun. Therefore, it is impossible for a company of strategic significance like SMIC to break away from the CCP.
Hong Kong Economic Times said SMIC's stock plummeted after the news broke of the U.S. considering putting SMIC on the trade blacklist. SMIC's clarification announcement did not save its share price, with Hong Kong shares falling 25% and international A shares halting.
The United States continues to warn the international community to guard against the CCP's high-tech companies. On September 8th, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi stated that the CCP is launching a global data security initiative which will not require Chinese companies to steal overseas data in violation of the laws of other countries. Strategy experts said that this is a disguised version of the Belt and Road Initiative, and the CCP will not relax its espionage. The Wall Street Journal also pointed out that the CCP's initiative is meant to counter the U.S. Clean Network Plan. On September 8th, Foreign Minister Yi attended the Global Digital Governance seminar held in Beijing. He stated that the CCP's Global Data Security Initiative maintains open, secure, and stable global supply chains, opposes undermining key infrastructure or data theft by using information technology, and forces firms to store data generated overseas in their home countries.
It is a disguised economic strategy of the Belt and Road Initiative.
Su Ziyun said that the CCP often utilizes free trade to undermine free trade and democratic means to undermine the democratic system. However, Su Ziyun believes that the CCP's initiative will have very limited effects.
Because it is now clear to the world that the CCP uses technological authoritarian means to monitor people, etc. The control of chips and technology will limit the effectiveness of the CCP's initiatives in this area.
Today, I'm pleased to announce the expansion of the Clean Network with the launch of 5 new lines of effort.
On August 5th, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced that it would expand the U.S. Clean Network plan to 5 important areas, including clean carriers, clean storage, clean apps, clean clouds, and clean cables, to guard U.S. citizens' privacy and companies' most sensitive information from aggressive intrusions by the CCP.
We call on all freedom-loving nations and companies to join the Clean Network.
According to the U.S. State Department, as of the beginning of August, more than 30 countries and territories have joined the Clean Network program.
On September 7th, President Donald Trump again raised the prospect of decoupling the U.S. economy from Beijing to bring back manufacturing jobs from China and key supply chains back to the United States. On Monday, the president reiterated parts of his second-term economic agenda to make the United States more prosperous and resilient than ever before by reducing its reliance on Beijing. Trump said in his Labor Day speech at the White House,
"Thank you very much. So when you mention the word decouple, it's an interesting word. So we lose billions of dollars, and if we didn't do business with them, we wouldn't lose billions of dollars. It's called decoupling, so you'll start thinking about it."
As the presidential election nears, Trump has pledged as part of his re-election bid to reduce the nation's reliance on China as the world's biggest manufacturer. Last month, the president floated the idea of a complete decoupling from China during his second term, meaning cutting off economic ties for national and strategic reasons. At the same time, he has accused his Democratic opponent, former Vice President Joe Biden, of being soft on Beijing, pointing to his China policies as part of the Obama administration. Biden's 2020 campaign has mentioned tackling China under its Made in All of America plan, which includes goals such as bringing back supply chains and reducing dependence on China by taking aggressive trade enforcement actions. On September 7th, Trump told reporters,
"If Biden wins, China wins because China will own this country. Today is Labor Day, and it's a good time to talk about when we're being ripped off by countries, but nobody's even close to China."
Last month, the president said in an interview with Fox News that he had learned that China could interfere in the November 3rd election on behalf of the Democratic presidential nominee. He said, "China owns Joe Biden. His son got $1.5 billion. His son with no experience, no brain power, no anything, never did it. Not only Ukraine. He got hundreds of thousands of dollars of money from Ukraine and the upfront payment. And then with China, he walks up with $1.5 billion in fees. It's ridiculous. They own Joe Biden. They own him and they want me to lose it so badly." The president said that if he is re-elected in November, his administration would prohibit federal contracts with companies that outsource to China and make the United States the manufacturing superpower of the world.
And we'll end our reliance on China once and for all. Whether it's decoupling or putting in massive tariffs like I've been doing already, We're going to end our reliance on China because we can't rely on China. And bring our jobs back from China to the United States, and we'll impose tariffs on companies that desert America to create jobs in China and other countries.
In June, U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said a decoupling of the U.S. and China economies would happen if U.S. companies are not allowed to compete on a fair and level basis in China's economy. The president has made bringing manufacturing jobs to the United States a key element of his re-election campaign, noting that items such as electronics, machines, tools, air and space parts, vehicles, and iron and steel need to be domestically manufactured in order for the United States to be secure. On August 6th, Trump also signed an executive order aimed at boosting U.S. production of medicines and medical equipment, lowering drug prices, and protecting the United States against shortfalls in a future pandemic. He said last month, "We cannot rely on China and other nations across the globe that could one day deny us products in a time of need."
Tens of thousands of students and parents in Inner Mongolia walked out of classrooms and staged protests after authorities announced that local Mongolian Chinese bilingual schools would stop teaching Mongolian. Parents rushed to pick up their children from school.
It was agreed in private among all of us that the children would not go to school. This kind of protest is more powerful, more effective, and it was a wise and rational decision.
If national unified textbooks are used from the first grade, our mother tongue will gradually disappear, and if the mother tongue disappears, our ethnic group will no longer exist. The reason why we are particularly disgusted with the current policy is that what will happen to our children in the future and what will happen to the Mongol ethnic group.
Meanwhile, there are also online rumors that the authorities made fraudulent videos to promote the policy. Locals have accused the authorities of recruiting Han ethnic students to wear Mongolian clothes and pretend to be Mongolian students in class. On September 8th, Chief Executive Carrie Lam said that 12 people from Hong Kong who were arrested as they reportedly sailed to Taiwan for political asylum will have to be dealt with by mainland China, but the city government would try to provide assistance. On August 23rd, Chinese authorities arrested the 12 people after intercepting a boat off the coast of the southern mainland province of Guangdong. Local media have reported they were headed to Taiwan to apply for political asylum. Lam said in a regular weekly press conference, "The question is not a question of simply getting them back. If these Hong Kong residents were arrested for breaching mainland offenses, then they have to be dealt with according to the mainland laws and in accordance to the jurisdiction before any other things could happen." Lam added that her government had a duty to render assistance to Hong Kong residents caught in all sorts of situations abroad. The government's representative office in Guangzhou, Guangdong's capital, will look into ways to provide that assistance and liaise with mainland authorities. On September 7th, news agency AFP reported lawyers representing some of those captured have been denied access to their clients. Lam did not address that particular aspect when asked. Neither mainland nor Hong Kong authorities have publicly confirmed who has been arrested, but local media have identified some of them as facing prosecution for involvement in anti-Beijing and pro-democracy protests last year. One man, Andy Lee, was recently arrested under a sweeping national security law imposed by Beijing on the Asian financial hub on June 30th. Another is a dual national with Hong Kong and Portuguese citizenship. The Guangdong Coast Guard, which announced the arrests on its social media platform late on August 26th, said two of the detainees were surnamed Li and Tang, without providing further details. It is not clear what charges they face, beyond potentially illegal border crossing. Lam also reiterated a remark made last week which stoked further worries that Hong Kong had taken a more authoritarian turn, saying the city had no separation of powers and that its executive, legislative, and judicial powers were derived from Beijing.